Hey, now we all know what a pass is, right? You catch a pass, you pass a salt, you get a pass to go to the restroom. But today, we're going to talk about something called Passover. Now, what does that mean? Pass over a bridge? Pass over something icky, like quarantine, lockdown, online school, or the 2021 blizzard. In Texas, we were snowed in for a week. Well, stay tuned, because today we're going to talk about something that is way bigger and way more fun than all that kind of Passover. We'll be right back. It won't hurt a bit. They're going to love you. Oh, hi! Welcome to Gigi's Holiday Place. This is my little friend Morty. Don't you love my hat? Well, here we are to tell you that we're going to be talking about some of the fabulous festivals that God has prepared for us. For you, for me, and for Morty. You know, if you watch them one by one, if you only watch one, if you watch them in calendar order, it doesn't matter. Just come on in. Let's have some fun, right, Morty? Bye. Hi there. Welcome back. Well, can you guess what we're going to talk about today? Yep, it's the Festival of Passover. This is a very important celebration that happens every year in the springtime to remind the Jewish people about how they got out of Egypt when they had been there for over 400 years as slaves. How they got out of Egypt and how God led them into the Promised Land. The whole story of how and why this happened is in the book of Exodus in our Bible. It's the second book, Genesis, Exodus. The bottom line is, God sent Moses to lead the people out of Egypt and into the Promised Land. But the Pharaoh, or the chief ruler, wouldn't let him go. So God sent 10 plagues, 10 bad things to affect the people in Egypt so that Pharaoh would eventually say, go. But he never did until the 10th one. God had told the people through Moses exactly how to prepare for this trip they were going to take, how to pack, what to take, and even more importantly, what to eat for their last meal. Because the last plague, number 10, was what the Bible calls the death of the firstborn. It involved a lot of things, a beautiful little lamb and blood. Ooh. And you can read all about this in the Bible in Exodus chapter 12. Now, it all sounds very strange to us, but God told the Israelites to take a little lamb, a perfect, spotless little lamb, and prepare it for barbecue. When they killed it, they were to take the blood and smear it all over the door of their houses. Yes, that sounds very strange to us. And that night, when God sent the angel of death through the whole land of Egypt to kill every firstborn son, even the firstborn of the animals, when they got to the doorposts that were smeared with blood, they passed over it. So none of the Israelites or their animals were harmed. Now you need to remember that. It was the blood on the doorpost that saved them. Speaking of remember, can you think back to all the feasts we've talked about so far and how they're all about remembering? Now, every year on the Jewish calendar, the first festival of the year is Passover, or Pesach in Hebrew. It happens on the 14th day of the first month on the Hebrew calendar called Nisan. And all the instructions in the Bible for how to celebrate this are in the book of Leviticus. That's the third book, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, in chapter 23. Now, next time, we're going to talk about the Festival of First Fruits, and specifically how this all ties in today with us and with Yeshua. But today, we're just going to talk about Passover. So, the whole Passover thing lasts a week, 7 days. And on the first night, the big meal is called, well, can you guess? If you said Seder, you'd be right. We talked about that on the Tu B'Shavat video, didn't we? So God originally told his people there were going to be 3 things that they would eat at this Seder: lamb, matzah, and bitter herbs. Matzah is I'll show you. But through time, other things were added to help them remember, okay? In fact, there's like 15 parts to this meal. Some of it is eating, some of it is drinking, some of it's talking, some of it's remembering, some of it is games, and some of it is songs, singing songs. Now that sounds fun, doesn't it? Not so much the bitter herbs. Passover is a serious and holy celebration, and the Seder is the beginning of it all. So the table has candles, of course, and 4 wine and juice cups in front of every place, and special dishes for the Seder element. I have a glass one packed away somewhere that I have not been able to find, so I've been using the plastic ones that I buy for my guests and for the kids. But you can also make your own, and I'll show you how, with a paper plate and some little muffin cups. All you do is decorate your plate. Hey, this is a holiday, right? You decorate your plate, and then you take the muffin cups and you write on the inside of each one the charoset, the bitter herbs, the lettuce leaves, the boiled egg, the lamb shank, and the maror, the horseradish. And then you just stick it on there with tape or glue. So the plate has sections where little reminders of the Passover are. So first is the karpas. They're supposed to be bitter herbs, and so we mostly use parsley or even lettuce. I don't normally think of lettuce as bitter, but it's not real tasty by itself, is it? Unless you're a rabbit. And then with the karpas, you need a bowl that has some salty water in it. And the second thing is my favorite. This is the charoset. This comes from a word in Hebrew that means clay. And mine is a mixture of dates and dried cranberries and honey and apples and walnuts and elderberry syrup. And it's all chopped up and mixed up together, and it's supposed to remind us of the mortar, the stuff between the bricks. When you look at brick, next time you see them stacked on top of each other, and there's a thin line of something inside, that's the mortar. So that's what the charoset is to remind us of. And then there's maror. Doesn't that sound like a fun word? Maror. It's kind of what you do when you taste it. It's horseradish. And you put it on your tongue. It makes your eyes water and your ears smoke. And you just, okay, maror. And this is to remind them of the bitterness of slavery, okay? And then there's a bone. Now, it's supposed to be a lamb bone to remember that little innocent, spotless lamb that was sacrificed on that last meal. And then I don't have any lamb, so mine is a dog bone, but hey, don't judge me, okay? And then finally, beitzah, which is a boiled egg. And this is supposed to remind us of the sacrifices that were brought to the temple. Now, they did not bring a chicken, but if you think about it, an egg is pretty much a gift from a chicken, isn't it? So it helps to remind us of that sacrifice. So first thing, of course, is the candles are lit, and there's a special kaddish or holy blessing that is said. Just to settle down and remember all that's gone before us in the past, everything God is doing for us now, and everything that is yet to come. And then there is a ceremonial hand washing. Now, hey, I don't know about you, but nobody eats at my house unless they've washed their hands. I'm going to show you Bear and Meadow right now washing their hands. Water on. Okay, see? Oh, you rinsed all the bubbles off. Okay, I'm rinsing them off. Here we go. You ready? Yes. Awesome. Did you see the special cup that I used? They love it when I rinse their hands with that. But this is just a ceremonial hand washing. And then everybody dries their hands. And the next thing is, here is the Seder plate. And I've already shown you a picture of what it looks like. And I can't really tip it without spilling everything. But you can see that here's the bone, the egg, the maror, or horseradish, the parsley, the piece of lettuce, and the charoset. Okay? So the very first thing that is done in the Seder is the Chapat. So we're going to take the bowl with salt water, and we're going to take a little piece of parsley. It's kind of bitter, so don't take too much. I'm going to dip it in the salt water. Well, it's not the tastiest, but then neither is lettuce all by itself. Now, you know, some people have, they chew on parsley after eating their meal. It helps your breath stay fresh, right? Okay? And then you focus on the tears that must have been shed as those Hebrew people left a land that they had lived in all their lives to go out and follow Moses through the desert, going only God knows where. Okay? They were happy to get away from the slavery, but they were a little nervous about leaving. After the karpas comes something that's fun, and it's called yachats. Doesn't that sound like yachats? That's exactly what it means, to chop. So the matzah is in a little container in 3 pieces. There's a top, a middle, and a bottom, and you pull out the middle, and you break it in half. You yachats, yachats. You break it in half, and then you take a piece that you broke, half of that, and you put back inside the holder, and then you put the smaller piece, the afikomen it's called. You were saving this for dessert. And you put it inside a special napkin. If you don't have a little container or holder like I do, you just use a napkin, wrap it up, and then somebody hides it for the end of the meal. Fun? Okay. Now we're going to have the Mageed, which is the story of Passover. And what are we doing here? And there is a booklet called the Haggadah. We talked about that with the Tu B'Shavat video. It's the program or the plan. And so everybody takes part in reading, and then comes the questions. The youngest child at the table gets to ask 4 questions, and those questions are answering, what are we doing here? What is this all about? It's kind of fun. And then after the Mageed, the storytelling, another hand washing. This one is called Raksa. Sounds like rock, doesn't it? Raksa. So we wash our hands one more time. That must mean we're going to taste something. And now it's time for the maror. After we wash our hands, we're going to take a little piece of the matzah, and we're going to dip it in the horseradish. See, I didn't put very much. See? Maror! And then we're going to make our sandwich. This is one of my favorite parts. So take a little maror, smear it on here, as much or as little as you like, and then charoset. I see a big old piece of this is a big old piece of date right there, so you really wouldn't want to put that on your bricks. And then you eat it. Now this is really hard to eat because the cracker comes all to pieces like this. Now, woo! Maror! Everybody at the table has access to a little bit of matzah, okay? But on our Seder plate, we have just these things. And again, this is a bone. Now, you know this is a dog bone, right? But you can use a chicken bone, a beef bone, a lamb bone, whatever you have to help you remember this, but should be lamb. I just don't have any. This is tasty. And remember that when it's time for the afikomen, that's dessert. And so then you've got all these bowls of charoset on the table. So you have a little sandwich, and it's going to be bitter, but it's also going to be sweet. And then it's time for dinner. Dinner can be anything. A pot roast, cheesecake. No, I'm kidding. Whatever your family likes, that's the dinner, okay? And after the dinner comes the search for the afikomen. So the kids get up and they start searching for the afikomen, and whoever finds it gets a special prize. And then everybody has dessert. And then there's a blessing after the meal to say thank you to God for all he has done, followed by songs. My favorite is the Dayenu. This means it would have been enough. So we could say, for God to create the world and let us live in it, it would have been enough. For him to put flowers and trees and birds and dinosaurs and camels it would have been enough. It would have been enough. Everything he has done for us all our lives. But he sent Yeshua to make sure we could live in heaven with him forever. Die, Dayenu, die, Dayenu, die, Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. That means it would have been enough. And it's a long song, and I just sang you the chorus, and everybody claps. It's so much fun, okay? That's a special blessing. And then it's followed by the words, next year in Jerusalem, which is a hope of all of us, that maybe next year we can celebrate Passover in Jerusalem, like Yeshua did. Next time we're going to talk about what happens in those days between the Seder and the end of Passover. But tonight we've learned that there are many different ways to observe the first night of Passover, and it's all about remembering. So I'm going to say to you, Chag Sameach. That's kind of a happy festival greeting. You know, like you say, Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas or even Happy Birthday. Chag Sameach. Thanks for watching. And we will see you next time when we talk about first fruits. Bye. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Gigi's Holiday Place.